Hi there folks, Borislav247 here with another Days Gone video. And this one is a bit special because this is a video I have been meaning to do for an awful long time. On this video I am going to show you all the best hidden loot locations from every single region in Days Gone. But not only that, I am actually going to show a little bit more. On this particular video, although I've not highlighted this up until now, I am also for the 5 regions that have a camp that you go to in order to purchase certain things. I'm going to show the nearest fuel location from every single camp, which will save you a hell of a lot of credits, especially for 2 of the camps when you realise just how close fuel actually is. And on top of that, I am actually going to show something else that is, to say the least, is a bit unique. And this is going to be 2 ammo locations that are respawnable. Yes, you heard me right, folks. And people who are uninitiated with Days Gone will probably not see what the big deal is when I say something like that. But all of the Days Gone aficionados will tell you straight away. They'll just be thinking, Boris, ammo boxes do not respawn. You know this. And you know what? You're right. They don't. But I'm still going to show you 2 locations, albeit very close to each other, where you can pick up ammunition and it will respawn for the entire game. Now, there is only one downside to these 2 ammo locations, and that is that they are both in the south. In fact, they're both at Crater Lake, which is going to be the last region that I will be showing on this video. So until you get to the south, you will not have the luxury of using these. But given that when you first arrive at the south and you have very little in the way of credits, how good is it that you will have somewhere that you can go to and get pretty much fully restocked on ammo for your weapons straight away. Anyhow, I have done a lot of rambling on, but I do want to say something else before I get to all the information. And it's this. There is a particular lady who helped me out in a big way with 2 or 3 of the locations, especially the ammo locations that I'm going to be showing at the end. And this lady does not want to be credited with this. So all I can say is to this particular lady, you know who you are. Thank you so much for all the work that you did to help me in getting this video made. I do have a very good knowledge of these hidden loot locations, but this particular lady helped me find 3 that I wasn't aware of, including, of course, these ammo locations. So anyhow, all I can say is I hope you all enjoy this, folks. I will have this entire video chapter listed as well so that you can find the areas that you want very quickly. And I just hope this helps a lot of people. Okay, let's get to this. Right then, first up is the Cascade hidden loot locations. And I'm going to start with the most famous one of them all. It is the Hydro Dam. Look at all the items that you can get at this one particular spot. Now, I'm going to start from the O'Leary Mountain Safe House every time when going to these locations. This one simply entails moving the cursor up a touch and then over to the east. And that is the Hydro Dam right there. And just to get this a little bit more accurate, I'm going to get the cursor right about there. It's the highest point that you can get to in this particular area of the Hydro Dam. So from here, I'm not very far away. I'm going to do this every time where I'm just roughly about between 100 to 150 meters away from the location, but I do want to do this every time to show the exact route to get to all these items. And this is as good a spot as any. Do be aware that there is sometimes some marauders that look to get the jump on you in this area. Thankfully, I don't have any of these problems here, but all the loot is at the very top of this platform up here. And for early game, these items are just fantastic. make some of the early hordes a very easy affair indeed. So we're starting off, first thing, proximity mine. Over here we have a frag grenade and a flashbang. Not only that, there is a medkit, but I'm full up on those, so obviously I can't pick it up. But it gets better. Over here there is a melee weapon, sledgehammer. There is also a pipe bomb and an attractor bomb. And round the corner here there is a 22 repeater. Yeah, although I did pass the sledgehammer there, yeah, it is there. And I will list every time any melee weapons and any guns that are available at each of these locations. But that is the first one. Okay, on to the next, the Little Bear Horde Shack. One or two very nice items to collect here. And this is another very easy one to find. From O'Leary Mountain Safe House, I'm looking to go to the west. And I am looking for the Little Bear Nero checkpoint. I'll zoom in on the map, and from here it is just north of this checkpoint. There is a very small lake in that section there, and just round about that area right there, that is where this shack is located. Now, if you are visiting this particular spot before getting to Lost Lake, then you will get no problems whatsoever. But do bear in mind that once Lost Lake has been unlocked, you will have a horde that resides in this particular shack. Now they are only 30 strong, and one grenade will take care of them very nicely, but it's just something that I want to point out to everybody. Do be aware of this. But in order to get to this one, it's a nice easy jaunt here. As you can see, I wasn't 100% accurate with the marking for that. Yeah, I was about 13 meters out, but as you can see, you know exactly where it is from here. And coming in here, there we go, here are the goodies. Now throughout the course of this entire video, I will not be pointing out items like kerosene and general items that you use for crafting. I'm generally looking for completely made up items every time. Yep, there is a wooden baseball bat in here, and of course a med kit, which appear in a lot of these locations. Right then folks, the last location that I'm going to show in Cascade is very near to the radio tower ambush camp. Only one Molotov that you're going to get here, but worth knowing that there is an SAF-12 here as well, which early game is a very nice weapon to get. Now, the location to get to the radio tower ambush camp is a very easy one. It's just to the west of the O'Leary Mountain Safe House, and the exact spot that I'm looking to get to is right there. So, I have the luxury here that I have already taken out this ambush camp, so I'm not going to get any problems. But yeah, if you're visiting this area for the first time, do be aware that especially early game, because you will have a noisy bike, that you can attract attention. So be quiet when going for these items. So the Molotov is to my right. There's some other items there as well, but they are, again, they're craftable items. And yeah, I pick up a polystyrene can there. You normally wouldn't be able to pick that up early game anyhow, but here is where you can also get an SAF-12 or a Sonoff. Okay, on to the nearest fuel location from Copeland's camp. Now this one, not only is it very close to Copeland's camp, but it's also exceptionally easy to find because it's already very well marked on the map. And I've actually been to this location already because it is none other than the Little Bear Lake Nero checkpoint. And you are asked to open this up very early game, but regardless of whether you've opened it up or not, it's not very far away, and there is always a petrol can in this area. And another advantage of this one is that you very rarely get any sort of problems. Wildlife is the only thing I would say you might have any issues with, possibly wolves, because there is a petrol can over on the other side of Copeland's camp, but you do sometimes get issue with marauders. So this one is by far the safer and the simpler option. And there we go. That is Cascade done. On to Belknap. Right then, on to Belknap, and this area has some of the best hidden loot locations in the entire game. And I'm going to be starting with this particular building that is located in Marion Forks. As you can see, quite a number of items you can get here. Now, I'm going to start by showing where all these items are in Belknap from the Hot Springs camp. And Marion Forks is to the northeast of that camp. Now, I'll zoom in with the cursor, and from here I'm going to mark exactly where this hotel is. It is right there. That's it. I just struggled to get the marker down there because there's a historical marker on the map there, but never mind. Okay, do be aware for this one that you sometimes get issues with marauders. This really is a hot spot when it comes to gunfights, so again, you have been warned. Now, there is actually 2 rooms that you can get into at this spot, but they both have to be accessed from the back of the building. There's a very specific way to get to both of these rooms, because if you go in to the hotel and go up the stairs, you'll find that both the doors are locked. You simply cannot get in. But if you go into these rooms via this way, you won't get any issues whatsoever. Okay, so first off, you will see there is a sniper rifle there that you can get your hands on, the M40. Nice if you want to go that way from the very start of the game. But here are the goodies. As well as a med kit, you've got a frag grenade and an attractor. But not only that, there is a flashbang on the bed there. Now, in order to get the last items, you need to head out of this room and then in through the window that is further up here. Okay, so once in here, there is a melee weapon that you can get your hands on. I think it's a pickaxe, yes. As well as that, there is a pipe bomb in the toilet there. And in the next room, you will find that there is a fully made up Molotov. And as well as this, there is another med kit, should you require one. All in all, a fantastic haul to get, but it gets better because there is another house not that far away from this particular location. And here we go. I'm just calling it the Marion Forks house, but there is some fantastic items here. So again, starting at Hot Springs, I'm looking to move the cursor up to the northeast section of Belknap. Once I get to Marion Forks up there, and I will focus on that petrol station, just moving over this way, and then it is that very house right there. Okay. As you can see, again, I'm not too far away from this house, and this one is very similar to the hotel. Again, you need to get into the particular room that has all the good stuff via the back of this house. And the giveaway every time is the hay bales. They seem to be very popular. So, just a little bit of climbing to do here. In through the window, and here we go. Some fantastic items here. A tractor bomb, proximity bomb, and a proximity mine. As well as this, there is a med kit over there. There is a hatchet. As well as that, there is an SAF-12 that you can also get your hands on. Yeah, all in all, for 2 houses that are fairly close by, that is a pretty damn decent haul. So, on to the next location. Right then, the last location I want to show in Belknap is Crazy Willie's, and you can get your hands on a Molotov and an attractor. Now, this particular area you actually come across very early in the Days Gone game because it is part of the prologue section. But I'm going to show exactly where this is on the map. There it is right there. And I am only going to highlight here where the Molotov is that you can get your hands on. I want to highlight that one because that Molotov will respawn throughout the entire game, albeit there is always a 3-day period roughly before any of these items will respawn. But very important to know that the attractor, and I will show where that is because it is very nearby, it does not respawn. You can get this attractor at the very beginning, but that is it. It's just a one-time deal with this particular item. Because you have to open up a safe in order to get it, yeah, it works pretty much like the ammo boxes. Once you collect ammo boxes, they never respawn either. But as I did mention earlier in the video, I am going to show an area where ammunition does respawn. So right now, there's just 1 or 2 freakers that I've got to take out. This is actually the prologue section that I am showing. And this is how you get the Molotov. Because there is a freaker out there. You'll get the jump on him, no problem. It's just an easy stealth kill. And there we go. There is a ready-made Molotov right there. And also worth knowing, although I'm not going to be collecting any, but this particular area here of Crazy Willie's is fantastic for kerosene. There's only one other area in the game that I can think of that has as much kerosene as this place, and it's a location in the south, and even then you can only get the kerosene when you're actually doing a mission in this particular area. But I'll explain more about that one later. Right now I'm looking to get into this building right over here, which is just across from the building that I've just come out of. Now, this is a two-parter. You've got to get into the building and then go over to this drawer. That is basically picking up the combination for the safe, and the safe is next door. And yeah, shocker, kerosene. And here we go. Just get this safe opened up, and that is it. An attractor, very early game. I love to get this attractor early, as there is a particular horde that I like to use this on called the Death Train Horde, but that's another story. Right then, before leaving Belknap, let's just show where this nearest fuel can is, and it is exceptionally close to the Hot Springs camp. From here, just going to move the cursor up. It's not that huge building, but it is the smaller one that's directly opposite it. And it's less than 200 meters away. This one really is a lifesaver. Truth be told, there is another petrol can that is not that much further up the road, but this one is just a tad safer because there's far less freakers and whatnot about here. So, just going to stop the bike right there, and it's just a nice easy walk here. Just going through this window, because once you're in here, there we go. There is the petrol that is required. Why bother to ever have to refuel at the camp there, where you can do that so easy. Okay, on to the third region, which is Lost Lake. And in my opinion, this is the best region in the game for these hidden loot locations. And I'm going to be starting with Sherman's camp. A lot of really good items here. This is usually my first port of call as soon as I have been to the camp for the first time. And Sherman's camp is to the northeast of the Lost Lake camp. So it's up here, and I'm just going to put a marker point right in between the two buildings that I'm going to be going to. So from here, I'll zoom out just so that everybody gets a good idea of where it is. And as always, I'm not that far away from where I need to be. So, a word of caution with this particular camp. It has a lot of freakers about, and not only that, it really is a hot spot for marauders, so do be aware of all this if you're looking to get items from here, but I think it's totally worth it. Some of the best items that you can get early game, you're getting here. Now, that building there is the Bank of Metolius, and the items are on the roof of that section. But first of all, I want to go over here, because there is an SAF-12 that you can get your hands on there, with some ammunition. But here is the first of the really good items, 2 smoke bombs. Now, for the upcoming remaster with the permadeath mode, these smoke bombs are going to become your best friend. They help you so much, it is beyond belief. Any animal issues, they will help with. Any heavies with really good weapons, they just do so much to help you out. But anyways, on to the next lot of items. There is some scrap up here, which I will take, as well as that, quite a few boxes of ammunition. I think there's at least 2 boxes of ammunition. There's an M40 there as well, but here are the main things that I'm looking to show. There is 2 attractor bombs and 2 flashbangs. Absolutely bloody fantastic. The attractor bombs especially, because for the hordes, they are golden. Okay, it's Sherman's camp again for the next area, but it is on the other side of Sherman's camp. And truth be told, I very rarely go to this particular location, because it's only a Molotov and a medkit that you're getting from here. But in the interests of showing all these areas, yes, you might as well see exactly where this is. That's right there. So, just going to stop the bike at this point. I'd much rather every time just have Deke going in to get these items on foot. Just a lot safer. If you're going in with a bike, you're going to make a lot of noise, and as I mentioned before, there is a lot of freakers in this area. In fact, when you first come to Sherman's camp, there is infestation nests that you have to take care of, which gives you a lot of extra freakers to contend with. But anyhow, eyes on the prize. There is the Molotov I require, and a medkit should I need one. Okay, on to the Militia Mission House. A fantastic area because you get a lot of really good items here. Now, to get to this house, I'm going to move the cursor to my left here. So from the big lake, just move it right down south till you get to that much smaller lake. From there, I'm just going to zoom in, and then I'm just going to move the cursor from here up to the exact location. And it is that house right there. And I call it the Militia Mission House for a very good reason, folks, because later on in the game, there is a bunch of militia that are occupying this house. And it's quite a tough battle that you'll get later on, but you're not going to see that for quite some time. So, and at this stage in the game, this house is empty. There's 2 ways to get in, but you have to get in from the first floor up. You can't get in from the ground floor at all. But it's not a problem. Just one of the 2 windows that are easy to get in. And from here, it's just picking up the items. Remote bomb, very handy to get at this stage in the game because they're difficult to come by. 1 attractor, always very handy for the hordes. Now down here, there is some more ammunition and a 9mm, which you already have. So I'm just pointing them out anyhow. But finally, you've got another 2 fantastic items over here. Another frag grenade and a proximity mine. Fantastic. Right then, the next area is the water area that is near the Sawmill. And a lot of very nice items to get here. Now, this particular location is to the southeast of Lost Lake. So, just going to move the cursor, first of all, over to the Sawmill itself. From here, I'm going to zoom in, just make the job easier in locating exactly where I need to be going from here, because it is again to the southeast of the Sawmill, and it is right there. Okay, because this one is in a very unusual place, I'm actually going to show the run from a little bit further back than normal, because everybody is aware of the Sawmill area, especially given the size of the bloody horde that resides here. But this is how you get to this location. Follow this path that goes to the side of the Sawmill, and then when you get to this section here, you'll see what looks like a valley on the left hand side. That is your cue to head on up to this section right here. And eventually you'll have to pass through this tree line section and eventually get to this very picturesque area indeed. With the exception of all the blood on the rocks, of course, but you can't have everything. Anyhow, from here you have a fire axe. Very nice weapon indeed. But the main prize is right over here. And here we go. Tractor bomb, 1 frag grenade and 1 proximity mine. Very handy to have indeed. And of course there's more ammunition there, should you need any. Okay, for the final area I'm going to show in Lost Lake, it is at Camp Pioneer. Now, from Lost Lake, in order to get to this one, just move the cursor up, and then I'm going over to the left because this is in the northwest section of Lost Lake. Looking to get over to that small lake section there, and from there I'm just going to move the cursor up to right there. That is the building that you need to get to. Okay, this run is going to start from the second entrance that you can get into Camp Pioneer. The first one you have to pass anyways, but if you are passing that particular section, stay to the side of the road because it is a hot spot for ambushes, especially wire traps. But anyhow, to get onto the roof section here, just a couple of quick climbs, and all the items are over here. There's ammunition, a 22 repeater, but here we go, a couple of very nice items indeed to get your hands on. Proximity bomb and 1 pipe bomb. Very nice indeed. Okay, finally, before leaving Lost Lake, I am going to show the nearest fuel location. And it is quite literally just across the lake here. So I'm going to move the cursor up and then over to this spot right here. Now, a lot of people will notice that there is a petrol station just over to the right there. And it's not that much further away. But here's the thing, although there is a good number of craft items over there, it is another hotspot when it comes to ambush attacks. So, given that this one here is much closer, but a damn sight safer, this is the one that I always recommend that you go to. Unless you are badly in need of more craftable items, in which case, go over to that petrol station and take your chances. But anyhow, over here, there we are, 1 petrol can, and that will do the job very nicely. As always, save you a lot of credits. Right then, time to visit Ripperville. Yep, this is the Iron Butte region, and some fantastic hidden loot locations in this particular region. And I'm going to start with the high ground location. As you can see, a lot of items to be had in this particular spot. Now, because there is no camp in this particular region, I'm going to start every time from the Rogue Tunnel Nero checkpoint. And from here, I'm looking to move the cursor up north. There are 2 historical markers up here, and I'm looking for this one right over here. When I get to it, I'm just going to move the cursor up a touch again, and the loot is right up there. Okay, let's get to it. Now, that is one of the entrances that you use to get access to Iron Butte, and from here, it's not a particularly long journey, but there is a fair old bit of climbing involved. Now, you can see up there the tent and the historical marker. In fact, You can see the blood on the cliff top up there. That's really as good a marker as you can get. So even if you don't actually have the location marked correctly on the map, don't worry about it. It is still an exceptionally easy one to find. That is a historical marker that I used in guidance in order to mark this spot. But here we are. As always, there is a medkit there and a great number of items to be had here. Look at all that. Yep. Very nice indeed. Okay, on to the next location. And this one is a pathway to the Iron Butte, albeit with a detour. Now, not actually very far away from the first location that I've shown. So, from the Rogue Tunnel near a checkpoint, again, moving up north, I'm actually heading for the historical marker that is just below the one that I showed before. Then moving the cursor over to this section, and it is right there. But not only this, folks, make a note of where my bike is currently parked here in relation to the map. It's very near that historical marker. Now, this particular house here, you want to pay close attention to, because I'm going to show you something that's very interesting indeed. This house sometimes will spawn a fantastic sidearm. Now, this area is also known for ambushes from the Rippers, and in this case was no exception. I had a couple, but check out over here, and it's all about the Eliminator pistol. And you'll think at first, oh, that's just been dropped by the Ripper, but look at this. Yeah, that Ripper did have an Eliminator, but he wasn't carrying two of them, that's for sure. This particular house, always check when you're in Iron Butte, because if you get the chance of picking up one of those bad boys, you're ahead in the game straight away. The Eliminator you can purchase at Wizard Island when you get to the south, but I'm pretty sure it's locked behind trust level 3 for the region, so it'll take you a while to get it. If you can get it earlier, then fantastic. It will really help you out in the Days Gone game. Don't get me wrong, the SMP9 is also very good, but yeah, the Eliminator, is fantastic. But anyhow, back to the matter at hand. This is the way that you need to go in order to get to all these goodies. First thing you will notice, you can't fail to notice, is a Ripper axe embedded in that poor sod there. And over here, there is a whole load more items. But this is something else to watch for here. When you pick them up, you'll notice I've got most of the things there, but the pipe bomb is still in there. No problem, just stand on the box and you will get the prompt where you can lift that up. And there we go, another fantastic haul. Okay, another fantastic area in Iron Butte, and it is the Watchtower that is overlooking the Cloverdale facility. Now, I'm going to move the cursor to the south this time. In fact, where my bike is currently parked is very close to the main entrance to the Cloverdale facility. And by the way, worth noting, there is a mission that takes place at Cloverdale. When that mission appears, make sure to clear your inventory of Molotovs, or just make sure that you use them up, because Cloverdale has a ridiculous amount of bottles and kerosene that you can craft a ridiculous amount of Molotovs. In fact, I'm pretty sure you can craft 6 with the amount that you can pick up during that mission. So that's just something to be aware of, folks. I'm not actually showing that on this particular video because it is only mission dependent when you actually go there. The items are not there beforehand, and the items are not there after that mission is finished. Only during. But anyhow, you're heading up here, and you have to climb up this watchtower in order to get to all these items. But it is well worth it. Because up here you can see a whole load of items. There's a frag grenade there. You've also got mines, yeah, proximity mine, Molotov, smoke bomb, and there is also a melee weapon up here as well. And it's quite a good one. It's a Ripper blade. Right then folks, from here on in, the hidden loot locations are slim pickings because you really don't have that much in the south. But I'm going to start at the Chemult Community College, where you can pick up a grenade. Now, there is a couple of problems with this particular one, because although it's very easy to show exactly where this is on the map, it's basically to the east of Wizard Island, and it is right there, and I am going to highlight exactly where this grenade is. The first problem is this: there is a horde that resides in this particular area. But not only that, if you try to go to this area just after arriving at the south, that entrance that you see there and all the other entrances will be blocked, because until you've completed a certain mission, you should not be able to get in here. But I'm going to show you that you most certainly can. There is an area, and it is that rock area right there, that you can just walk up if you just choose the correct line. So I'm just going to position my bike like that, and it's just roughly a 45-degree walk up these rocks in order to get to the top there. So for most people, you probably won't have to worry about that, but if you want to get into this place long before the mission takes place in this area, then that is the way to do it. But from here, it's a very easy affair. Just going to head over to here. And another way to recognize that you're definitely at the right tent area is look for the one that has the flag. Right there. The United States flag, I should have pointed out, but yeah. And there we go. Head in here, and one grenade is for the taking. Okay, job done. Right, the next one, the Burger Mart roof. This is located at the town of Chemult. And this one is actually pretty close to the Chemult Community College, for obvious reasons. The name kind of gives it away. But moving the cursor directly east from Wizard Island, once I get to the town of Chemult, I'm just zooming in, and then from here I'm going to show exactly where you need to be going. And it is right there. Okay, I'm not very far away from it, but another area where you do have to watch out for potential ambushes, and also the wildlife is pretty rampant around this area as well. But those wolves don't appear to have seen me, so happy days. And here's how you get to the roof section. Just a couple of quick climbs, and then right over here, here are the spoils. Very nice when you get into the south. Proximity mine and a pipe bomb. And there is also a pickaxe there as well. Right then, on to the Icewind Lava Cave. Now, a good few items here, but there is a catch with all of this lot. But first of all, I'm going to show where this cave is. From Wizard Island, I'm looking to move the cursor up, and then, as always, across to the east, I'm looking for the Aspen Butte ambush camp, which is right there. From here, just zooming in, and then it's not a long journey at all. The Icewind Lava Cave is right there. Okay, now I will point out what the slight problem with this is, and I've even brought it up on screen. These particular items will not appear until the mission that is called What It Takes to Survive has been completed. But technically, you can actually pick these items up while this mission is ongoing, because it is a long cave system until you eventually get to where you need to get to. I am actually showing a quicker way on this video, but without giving away too many spoilers, there is a number of things that you have to do where you may not get the chance to pick up these items. But the good news is, after this mission has been completed, you can come back into this cave system and get all these items. But the other problem with this lot is, and I have this stated as well, these items do not respawn. Once you have picked them up, that is it. You cannot get them again. Because most of the items in Days Gone do respawn after it's roughly about 3 days of Days Gone game time. But right now, I am taking my time in getting to this spot, just so that everybody can follow how I'm doing this. But here we go. Not only is there some fantastic items in the way of the grenades and the mine, but look at all the rest of the stuff here. There is quite a bit. There's scrap, kerosene and whatnot. A lot of crafting items. But obviously the main things I'm interested in here is the proximity mine. There is 2 grenades. Fantastic to get your hands on. But there is also an attractor bomb as well, which is over here near the lighting system, which no longer works. And it is right there. Okay, so from here, just so that nobody gets lost, yeah, that is someone else that you meet during that particular mission, what it takes to survive. But from here, I'm looking to take the same way that I came in. And I am actually going to use a stamina cocktail. I'm just going to run this, but it's just the exact same route that I used to get over there. Is the same to get back. And it is a pretty easy one to follow. When the actual mission comes up, that you have to do a great number of things, you have a far lengthier journey around this cave system. But when you're coming back in just to get these items, you don't have to worry about that. Just take the quick way, in which I'm doing. As you can see already, that's me just about out. And that's the way I recommend you get all these. Don't bother when you're actually in there doing the mission. Wait until the mission has finished and then go back in there and fill your boots. And there we go. That's a nice one to know about. Right then, the nearest fuel from Wizard Island. There is 2 spots that you can actually go to because they're both fairly close in terms of distance. Now the first one, I'm not actually going to drive to, but I'm shown on the map because there is a fantastic amount of craftable items at that particular petrol station. It's one of the best areas in the game for craftable items in the south, by the way. But in order to get a petrol can reasonably quickly, this is the one that I recommend you go to. So, from here, yeah, by nearest fuel location standards, this is one of the longest ones. There simply isn't anywhere that is super close for Wizard Island, which kind of sucks. However, I'm very pleased to say that for Diamond Lake, there is one that is fantastically close. In fact, so close you don't even need the bike, you can actually run to it, but I'll be showing that later on. This one is another area where you can potentially get problems with marauders. And yeah, as you can see there, I have had 1 or 2 problems, which I took care of. But here we go. There's actually 2 petrol cans in this particular area here, but that is the nearest one right there. And that will get the job done very nicely indeed. Right then, on to the last region, Crater Lake. Again, fairly slim pickings, but does have a very nice, unique location for the ammunition, as I mentioned earlier. But I'm going to start with this location here. You can get your hands on a proximity mine, and it's in that shed. Now, in order to get to this location, starting at the Diamond Lake camp, and I'm heading south. This particular location is actually not that far from being level with Wizard Island, albeit Wizard Island is over to the west of it, but that just gives you a kind of better idea. I've marked on the map there where it is. It'll become a little bit clearer once I zoom out here. Yeah, as you can see, the top section of the Wizard Island island itself is a good marker as to moving along from there. But anyhow, just have to head over here. It's a kind of unique location because you don't see too many of these sheds about. In fact, I don't recall seeing another one like this in the entire game. But there we go. The mine is tucked away there. And as well as this, you've got this box. And when you open it up, yes, there's a bit of ammo there, which is very handy to know about. Okay, on to the next location. Now, this one doesn't actually have a complete Molotov. I am only showing this one because it's one of the few areas where you actually have kerosene and an empty bottle right beside each other. Now, there is actually 3 items required to make a Molotov. The last one is a rag, but the rag is actually in a house that's right next to the one that I've highlighted. I don't normally show these ones, but I thought this one was worth it, given that it is very close to the Diamond Lake camp. And not only that, there is a few areas where you could potentially use a Molotov in this particular area. There are crier nests and whatnot to take care of. Certainly, if you have the ability to craft incendiary bolts, you probably will not want to craft a Molotov, but these are the 2 items there, kerosene and 1 beer bottle. And I will just show there, yep, you do require a rag, but why I am showing this, as I mentioned before, it's not a long journey at all to get to the rag if you don't have one already. And most people will be, like myself here, pretty much fully stocked, but there's a rag right there. So it is essentially a Molotov very close by. So definitely one that needed to be shown. But anyhow, on to one of the most interesting things you will probably see on this video, because I don't think too many people know about this at all. Right then folks, seeing really is going to be believing, because these 2 respawnable ammo locations are going to be virtually impossible to spot because there is no ammo boxes at this location. Sounds bizarre, but the first thing I want to point out here is on the map, 846 days gone. After I have got all of this ammunition, I will come back a few days later in days gone terms. But first of all, I'm showing where the location of these 2 ammo locations are. And it's the burnt out petrol station just outside here. So, because this is all about the ammunition, once I get off here, I'm actually going to empty all of these items, weapons I should say, of their ammunition. And I will speed this up a touch on the video, because this does take quite a long time to do. Okay, but there we go. Thanks to a bit of video editing, job done. Now, take a look at this. The first ammo location is to the side of this building. Now, there's 2 items here. One, I think, is a spark igniter, which I am not concerned about at all. You'll see that it's saying max because I'm fully stocked on them. But look at this, the bandage. It's just gone dark because I am fully stocked on bandages. So, the only way I'm going to be able to pick that up is to obviously use one of my bandages, and because I'm full up on all this, I'm going to have to take some damage first in order to use one. Just so happens I've got a proximity bomb here, which is why I made sure to leave 1 or 2 bullets in the Chicago chopper. There's a number of ways to inflict damage upon yourself, but for the purposes of this demonstration, this is the quickest way. Okay, now Deke's taking some damage. I can use a bandage. That will create space for one to be picked up. And now you need to be watching this. I can use this. Take a look at that. So, let's go to the weapons. Quite a bit of ammo all of a sudden in all of these. And to prove it's not just a glitch where it's showing that I've got ammo for some strange reason, but I don't actually have any, I'm going to take the time to fire a few rounds from all of these. Yep, I emptied all these before. Chicago Chopper now has a great deal. I'm not going to empty them all here, by the way. It's just a case of showing that each particular weapon now has ammunition again. Okay, on to the second location, which works in the exact same way as that one does, and it is inside this building. Over here there is 3 items, but there is only one item that I'm interested in making sure that I can pick up, and it is the pipe on the floor. I will pick up the other items there because I am not fully stocked on them, but watch what happens again when I pick this one up. There we go again. 58, 7 and 104 in terms of ammunition. Fan-bloody-tastic. So, to prove that this is all respawnable, I will once again empty these 3 weapons of their ammunition. And I will speed this up, of course. And now, I'm going to head back to Diamond Lake, move the time on a touch so it's at least 3 days after when I first picked these up. Then I'm going to come back and show that this is a truly respawnable location. Okay, here we go. It's now night time, and yeah, always a little bit more treacherous to come out at night, but it's not very far away, as you all well know, so what the hell. It's actually showing 850 days gone, so definitely shouldn't be any issues with these items respawning. And again, I'm going to have the same problem as before. Because I am so well stocked on bandages and whatnot, I'm going to have to take some damage. But in this case, I can actually pick up the spark igniter, but that's not what it's all about here. It's all about that bandage. So, I've got a pipe bomb. Yeah, do you know what? For the purposes of this video, yeah. Take it, Deke. Right, okay. Can use up a bandage here. That will create the room as with the scenario before. And again, there we go. More ammunition. And yeah, I'm not even firing off any rounds this time. I will take the time to reload the weapons though, just to create a bit more space. There we go, and just need to pick up the pipe again. And there we go, fantastic. By the way, something else to point out. At the very back of this petrol station, there is a smaller building just after it. If you go around that smaller building at the back there, there is a superior metal axe that you can pick up. I'm not showing it here, but I just thought I would actually mention it. Okay, the very last thing to show on this video before I wrap things up is the nearest fuel location from Diamond Lake Camp. And this is a fantastic one to know about, because when you first get to Diamond Lake, you pick up the best fuel tank possible. And it costs a lot of credits to fill that bad boy up. But the location of the petrol can is so bloody close, I can run over to it. Yeah, it's less than 100 meters away. So this is probably the best one of the lot to know about. So just right up here, once you go through the doorway, it's just over to the left. And that's it right there. And there we go. That just about brings me to the end of this video. That is all of the locations that I know, as well as this. A fantastic area to show for respawnable ammo, as well as these good locations for the fuel. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching, folks. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Take care.